Ooh, anger is a big one. Anger gets a bad rap. Anger might be the most misunderstood and maligned emotion of them all. I was part of a spiritual circle years ago that was aghast when I called anger into our circle as a feeling to be honored. They were all, no, anger isn't welcome here. And I was like, peace. I've been studying this one for years, and what I find is that most often anger arises to teach us about boundaries. It is rare that I can't track anger back to a boundary violation, though it doesn't always look how you'd expect. It can be quite convoluted, and I'd say 95% of the time it points to if I had better boundaries here and here and here, then that wouldn't have happened that way. People can get upset about this perspective, so let's tangent on victimization for a mo. Being victimized is real. If you have trauma, get support to resolve the trauma. Then, when you're well resourced, then you can start the inquiry into what the experience is asking for you to learn. From this place, you can allow anger to fuel transforming victimhood into power to create positive change going forward. I'm not here to diminish anyone's experience of suffering, and I am most interested in offering tools for empowerment and sovereignty. On that note, if you want to learn a powerful practice for transmuting pain into power, take my free class, Technologies of Consciousness for Evolving the Earth Collective. You can find the link in the description below. Okay, back to anger. Different folks have different levels of access to anger and different ways of expressing or suppressing it. But I can tell you, suppressing it is not a good idea. We'll get into why a bit later in the video. The first most important thing to do when anger arises is to feel it. Notice it, identify it, acknowledge it. Obviously, when it arises in company or in relationship, it might not be ideal to express it verbally immediately unless you have ninja communication skills, but do notice it so you can make wise choices about how to work with it. And it really is an emotion to be worked with. You've probably tried yelling and punching a pillow, and maybe you've heard of a smashing, where you get a bunch of beer bottles or old chipped dishes and throw them at a brick wall. And those things can feel really good when you're angry, but they can also set up an addictive loop with the endorphins that get released. Then, in order to get your next fix, you sabotage yourself or spin up some drama, pick a fight, or just find something to be angry about. It's not hard. Let's look at some more constructive ways to work with anger. If you slow down and tune in, you might notice that the sensation of anger in the body feels like burning. So the first thing to do is just let it burn. Folks that are more conditioned to suppress their anger might feel that burning rise up and be like, oh, no, no, don't do that. That's not good. That anger is bad. Don't start a fight. Keep the peace. And again, we don't want to suppress it. We want to let the flame of anger burn through the body, and it tends to move up. It tends to move in waves. You might have waves of anger throughout the minutes or hours or days that you're processing whatever anger is happening in your life. Let it move up and out. So you want to let it emanate out through your body. And if you're with someone and you're having that experience, they might feel it, right? They might be like, whoa, you're pissed. And that's okay. Anger is okay. It's okay to feel angry. And in fact, that emanation of anger can create some distance between you and the person that you're with if they feel it emanating off of you. And that is the establishing of the new boundary. It's like actually be a little further away. So letting that sensation burn and ripple out through your body and out through the energy field, let it out. So I like that strategy because it's subtle. You can allow the sensation to burn through your system at work or while you're driving, or around other folks. Another tool that I'll offer is tapping. EFT, emotional freedom technique. So this is not my area of expertise, but I like it because it's super accessible, pretty subtle. You can get away with doing it like in the bathroom at work or maybe on the subway or while you're driving. So there's a point here below the pinky finger called the karate chop point, and then you use this knuckle on the other hand and you just hit that point with the other knuckle. And the first thing to do is just like let the feeling be there and amplify it, and then practice self-acceptance. So I am so angry. Oh my God, I'm so pissed. Even though I'm so pissed, I fully and completely love and accept myself. Ugh, I'm so mad. Oh, I'm so mad. Even though I'm so mad, I totally and completely love and accept myself. I'm so angry. Oh my God, I don't think I've ever been this mad in my life. I'm so mad. Even though I'm so mad, I totally and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm angry, I fully and completely love and accept myself. So just letting it be there, maybe even ramping the feeling up a little bit and getting it moving with this tapping. And then there's some tapping points on the face. And you can just keep going. Oh my God, I'm so mad. I have never been this mad in my life. I'm fuming. Oh, enraged. I'm so angry. Wow, I am so pissed. Really mad. I'm so mad. And that can continue to help let the feeling like run through your system. And then if you're able to like get to a place where it feels less charged and more calm, then you can do another round. Oh, I enjoy this feeling of calm. I love so and so that pissed me off. I love myself even though I got angry. I like this calm feeling I'm having. I feel happy. Joy is real. Whatever. So you can just take that and play with it. You can find other practitioners that specialize in tapping to teach you really well how to do that. I just like to share it because it's easy and accessible. Another excellent strategy for dealing with anger is exercise. So whether this is lifting weights or going for a vigorous walk or hike or run, it's a great way to move anger through your system. And it also gives space for your mind to clear around the inquiries that you might get into around the source of the anger and how it's arising in you. Okay, here is the most important tool I'm going to give you today. Growling. I mean a deep guttural growl. When you've contacted that anger and you can growl, that helps your physiology transform the emotion of anger into power to create positive change. So yelling and hitting a pillow or throwing bottles against a brick wall will sort of fling the anger around and like let it keep swirling. This growling really transmutes it. So you want to practice the growling as you're finding your way through the anger into more of a position of responsibility and power to create positive change for yourself. So throughout all of these anger honoring activities, you can be in inquiry about what is yours to own, which will likely lead you to finding your boundary and reinforcing it. I find this process very clarifying for bringing things into right relationship and gaining the support of life. I just want to mention a few flavors of anger. It can show up in different ways. And one of them is righteous anger, which is like, I am so justified in my anger and you should be mad too, and looping people up into the anger and kind of getting an anger club going. Righteous anger. Frustration is another flavor of anger. And frustration, what you'll find if you deepen into frustration, is mad and sad. Oh, I'm mad this isn't working, and I'm sad it's not working out, and I'm mad it's not working. mad and sad. And then another flavor is indignation. Indignation. I can't believe this is happening right now. And indignation is a major indicator for the homeopathic remedy we'll get into in a minute. But first, some flower essences for anger. Flower essences help bring subconscious patterns to awareness so we can make conscious shifts in our behavior. They work through the layers of the energy body, and you'll just have to try them to see how well they work. The first remedy I'll share with you is impatiens. So it sounds like impatience, which it's for, but it's actually spelled impatiens. So the flower impatiens is for impatience and irritability and being quick to anger. So if you have a generalized state of anger showing up as impatience and irritability, impatiens is an excellent flower essence exactly for that. Holly is another essence. This one is specific for jealousy. So if there's a relational dynamic that's evoking jealousy and anger, I would go with holly. Snapdragon is another great essence if you are snapping at people. So Snapdragon addresses a pattern of tension that arises in the jaw and the pelvis. So if there's pelvic tension that's referring to the jaw and causing TMJ symptoms, or this habit of snapping at people, Snapdragon is a great remedy for that. You may need to take it long term for TMJ symptoms, but it can really help bring the pelvis and the jaw into balance and out of that tension pattern. Okay, the next flower essence is Black-Eyed Susan, and this is a remedy for repressed anger. So deeper and further back than the suppression that we in our culture, many of us practice, and deeper than that indignation that I mentioned earlier. So Black-Eyed Susan is for repressed anger. You might not even really know it's there. You may need, the reflection of a good friend or a therapist to help you see that level of repression. But if you suspect that there's repressed anger, or that there's things that happened in your past that you should be angry about, but you're not, Black-Eyed Susan is a good remedy for that. It can help bring that repressed anger forward so you can see it, work with it, deal with it, and move it out of your system. Okay, as we get into Staphylos sagria, we're going to see some of the reasons why it's so important to move anger out of your system and not suppress it. So Staphylos sagria is a homeopathic. It's the one homeopathic remedy I'm going to share about in this video. It's very powerful. It's appropriate for very many people. Its main themes are suppressed anger and indignation, and it's specifically indicated for surgery, any cut with a knife, abuse, and rape. So the physical things that Staphylos sagria remedies are an assault, an indignation to the body, an assault to the body and an indignation to the body. So even if you don't have the experience of feeling indignant, that can happen at the cellular level, or in the layers of the energy field. So through understanding the remedy of Staphylos sagria, we see that when anger is suppressed, it can lead to a number of health problems down the road. Staphylos sagria is useful for stomach and bowel cancer and symptoms leading up to that of indigestion with heat and burning in the intestines. So there we see that when we suppress our anger, it establishes itself in our gut, in our digestive tissues. That's not healthy. Another pattern that Staphylos sagria teaches us about is this pattern of indignation, where something is happening and you go, I can't believe that's happening. There's this like pulling back. I cannot believe they're doing that. I can't believe they're acting like that. This pulling back of the chin, the eyebrows go up, the forehead wrinkles. And so that can actually change the shape of someone's face over the course of their life if they're doing that pattern a lot. It can bring the chin in and under, and it can make forehead creases here. And what that pattern is doing is developing a tension pattern in the muscles of the skull that pull the bones of the skull tight, and then The sphenoid bone, which rests in the center of the head and isn't really accessible from the outside, I think it touches the outer bones like at the temple, and that's it. It sits sort of in the center of the brain, and the pituitary gland is sort of nested in it. And its job is to cradle the pituitary gland and have this gentle rocking that supports the pituitary to produce the hormones that it's meant to produce in the right amounts at the right time. The pituitary gland is the master gland. So the hormones that it releases tell other endocrine glands what hormones to release. It's really important. So the pituitary function can be compromised over time as those muscles tighten the bones of the skull, and the sphenoid bone ceases its gentle rocking in the rhythm and pattern that it's meant to. That prevents the pituitary gland from functioning optimally. So by taking Staphysagria, we're releasing this tension pattern. The indignation can go away. The anger can like leave the field, and the face can like regain some of its original structure. And as those muscles release, the bones of the head are not compressed, and then the sphenoid can swing free, and then it starts rocking again, and the pituitary is like, yay, I get to make all the hormones that I need to make in the right amounts at the right time and tell the rest of the body how to take care of itself. So this is a really powerful remedy. So a couple of ways that can show up long term is hormonal imbalances and hormonal problems, including everything having to do with digestion and reproduction. It definitely settles into the belly and the pelvis, right? So the pancreas and the reproductive endocrine glands. Another hormonal function supported by the proper functioning of the pituitary is there are hormones that tell the bones to release calcium into the bloodstream at certain times of day, and hormones that tell the bloodstream to bring the calcium back into the bones at certain times of day. So there's like a wave of calcium coming out of the bones into the blood and going back into the bones. And what ends up happening long term is that the hormone that tells the calcium to go back into the bones isn't available in the right amounts or at the right time. And so the calcium can't get back into the bones, which develops into osteoporosis and osteoarthritis as the calcium builds up on the outside of the bones instead of going back in. So again, Staphysagria, if there is a history of abuse or rape or surgery and these symptoms are developing, Staphysagria can bring the systems back into alignment. Not all folks who would benefit from Staphysagria suppress their anger. Some of them do express it. So Staphysagria is a great all-around anger remedy, and it can just peel away the layer of consciousness that is having the thing be so offensive, and then you're just not angry anymore. So I would love to see us come into a more balanced relationship with the emotion of anger, give it its rightful place at the table, let it teach us about what we need and how to give it to ourselves. And blessings on your journey with anger and these remedies, and may they serve you deeply. If you want to learn all about flower essences and how to make your own, you can buy my course. The link is in the description of the video. It is super accessible. There is not a course on making your own homeopathics. I'll leave that to the lab for now. And come to the free class. Come to Technologies of Consciousness for Evolving the Earth Collective. I will see you there.